Hey pals, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tallulah if you did not know, and it feels very weird doing this standing up. The reason I'm standing up is today I have some content, and that content is cutting my hair while having a chat. And honestly, the closer I get to doing this, the more ambitious it feels. But, you know, I'm a woman, I can multitask. I'm also gonna try and make this vaguely instructional in case anybody wants to stop spending that cash dollar for someone else to cut your hair and just fuck it up yourself. So say hi to Will. Just a disclaimer, me cutting my own hair, not having an identity crisis, I just cut my own hair. So let's go. I try to get this as in focus as I can, but like, bitch, I'm not a camera woman. I'm not going to talk through everything I'm doing to my hair because I think it'll be quite obvious, and also, I mean, I'm not that good at this, so I feel only moderately entitled to give advice. Today what I wanted to have a natter about was stress, because since coming to university I've kind of formed a different relationship with stress. Lots of the time in the past, I kind of just say, oh my god, I'm so stressed. In the same way lots of people just say, oh my god, I'm so tired. You know, it's kind of just like a thing people say to each other, and I think it's kind of like a bonding thing, like we kind of bond with other people over the fact that like, I'm so stressed, I'm so tired, and it's kind of like, I don't know, I mean it would be nice to bond over things like I'm so well rested, I'm so organised, but like I think more often than not we kind of make a thing out of like shitty things that are going on, and then we feel a bit less alone. But I think since coming to university I've sort of done the opposite. I think I have not given myself enough credit for how stressed I've actually been, and I think the reason for that is because I've realised I can be very stressed but also quite happy at the same time, and I think I confuse being happy with being unstressed. One of the biggest indicators to me that I was kind of just going around in my life with a load of unaddressed stress kind of lurking below the surface is when I had my kind of awful like acne breakouts, which I did a whole video about. My last video was all about how I kind of remedied that, and in that video I talked about products I used which 1000% like helped in a big way, and oh look at all that. Oh, that's so satisfying. Okay, top tip, don't just flush all the hair you cut off down the sink, because I did that for like a whole term and then it started taking 20 minutes for my sink to drain and I had to buy a whole bottle of deblocker. So learn from my mistakes. I'm gonna put my hair on a plate. What was I saying? So those products definitely helped the kind of surface level side of the breakouts, but I really think that the reason my skin really popped off is because I was just way more stressed than I was giving myself credit for. I underestimated how much of a big deal starting university is. Every year millions of teenagers have only ever lived with their families pretty much, ship themselves off to new places lots of the time with completely new people and just have to get on with it. And I really don't think this is going to be quite short. This is quite fun though. Woo! But I think because you are just getting on with it, you learn to cope with a certain amount of underlying stress and anxiety, and obviously, you know, being able to deal with that is a good thing, but when you get so used to it that it just becomes your normal, you stop noticing it's there and then you stop doing anything about it, and then it kind of, at least how I feel about it, is that it accumulates over time when you're kind of stressed about, I don't know, maybe social things, about making friends, and then you're stressed about uni work, and even just like little things like taking responsibility for your own life, which by and large I have really enjoyed, but all the kind of pressures of that do build up. And additionally, when you're dealing with so many kind of practical newer practical challenges, it's really easy to just tick along and not really deal with the more emotional side of the situation. I just wanted to kind of talk about things I'm doing to try and stop that same kind of stress build up from happening again. This is going to be very short. Honestly, this could be going better, but it's also not a complete disaster, so I'm just gonna keep going. The first anti-stress tip I have sounds very like Pinterest bullet journal bitch, but genuinely journaling is one of the best things I've ever started doing. So I have this little fun and fresh Beatles notebook. It's the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album cover on the front. It's a nice little hardback boy, and I call this my vomit journal because it's what I mentally vomit into whenever I kind of have like a build-up of angst. I wouldn't say I've ever had like a diagnosable level of anxiety, but I do definitely have kind of recurring patterns of anxious thoughts that I've noticed in myself, often about kind of similar themes, kind of feeling like there's so much I want to do that I don't have time for, and like getting kind of down on myself about my levels of productivity and my levels of success with the things I do and I care about, which inevitably leads me to just further put off the things that I care about and want to do, and therefore I'm more stressed because I'm not you get the idea. It's a bit of a vicious cycle. So tell me if you relate to that. But honestly, writing everything down instantly makes it seem less bad, because oftentimes I have a very distinct writing style in my journal, and usually like a journal entry will go something like this. 5th of January, 12 AM. I feel very stressed and scared and I don't know why. And then as soon as I've written that, I'll be like, oh wait, okay, I do know why. It's because I've got this deadline coming up, I've got this event coming up, I have to do this, I feel like I'm falling behind in this way. And then as soon as I've written it down, I'll realise that like the things that are making me feel so awful are really not that bad and are all eminently manageable. So as soon as I've done that, I will say something like, see bitch, this is not a problem, you are just being a fool. And then I'll just write a list of things I'm grateful for, and I'll be like, well, this was just my brain knitting a fat patchwork quilt of problems, which was, I mean, very imaginative of her, but like not the most helpful. And I've spoken to people before who kind of feel a bit like self-conscious writing in a journal, which is understandable. I haven't really felt that because I'm just I'm a very words orientated person. Honestly, I can't recommend journaling enough, and it's not something you have to do regularly. It's just something I turn to when I need it, and I often find that even though talking to someone about what's going on is often very helpful and sometimes exactly what I need, I find that I'm never as honest with another person as I am in my journal, and only when I get out everything I'm feeling, even if it's things that I really don't want to like write down because they scare me or stress me out, like if I put everything out, then I can rationalise it and look at it in a more objective way and gain some perspective and move the heck on. Another thing that I never thought I would really get into, but I got into over the Christmas holidays funnily enough, is yoga. And I've always been very skeptical about everything to do with mindfulness and meditation and yoga, because I'm like, it's just bullshit, my body doesn't bend that way. If I try to meditate, I just start thinking about like my shopping list. I've been really cynical about all those kind of like stilling your mind, being in your body, that kind of de-stressing technique. But over Christmas, oh lord, did I get into yoga? And I don't mean yoga for fitness, like I didn't go to any yoga classes, but one day I was just feeling really stressed, and I've done, you know, quite a few like yoga videos in the past on YouTube because there's so many, and I was like, do you know what, I'm feeling very stressed, and I was a bit ill at the time, so I didn't want to go to the gym. But I was like, I'm just gonna do some yoga, and it actually really helped me. And since then, kind of most days I've been doing like a little like 10-15 minute yoga flow, which is inspired by like some of the videos I've watched, but I kind of just have like made up my own now, which I kind of usually do, or like a little variations on it. And I put on, there's a Spotify playlist called meditation and yoga, or meditation and relaxation or something, but if you type in yoga to Spotify there are loads of kind of ambient music playlists, and I just play one of those quite loud because I find that if I'm in silence I'm more likely to end up, you know, getting lost in thought. It's really relaxing and de-stressing, and if you just focus on your breathing and feeling the stretch in the different parts of your body, I find it so relaxing. Like, I don't know, now I'd like it. I don't know why I was ever so, like, damning of it. I'm never gonna be one of those, like, you know, namaste, I can do the splits, you know, I'm doing yoga on a beach kind of people. I mean, I don't know, maybe I am. Maybe I'll just, you know, I'll go up from, like, granola vegan to, like, silent retreat yoga vegan, but, like, maybe, I don't know who I'm going to be when I'm 35. I'm going to link a couple of yoga videos that I like in the description if you want to try a couple that are not very challenging, and then maybe you can take a leaf out of those videos and do your own little flow every now and again. Just a little stop to reflect on where we are with my hair. I'm not gonna lie, I have done a better job of this in the past, but what did I expect from trying to give myself a haircut while talking to a camera? I mean, there's only so well it could go. Something else that helps me to be less stressed is lists. I am a very list-oriented person. You know, I always have a list on my wall of like general to-do lists, and then I have a, you know, just like a day-to-day diary where I put uni work and any events I've got coming up. I have a calendar on the wall, I use my phone calendar. I need to have everything mapped out. Despite me being that kind of person, I do not get on with bullet journaling. I think the longest I did it was like 4 months, but I mean, I wasn't doing it properly. Like, I wasn't doing a load of trackers and making it all beautiful and aesthetically pleasing. After a while I basically just ended up drawing out my school homework diary in a different book, so it didn't really stick. And I think the reason I don't like bullet journaling is just because it feels very fixed, and even though I know any bullet journaler will tell you that like it's so customizable and you can do whatever you want and it can be this amazing analog organizational system to just like solve your life, but like I don't know why I prefer to have like 4 different lists and a homemade chart stuck to the wall and like a fairly sparsely filled in diary. That's just the way I roll. Over Christmas I didn't bring my kind of uni like homework diary back with me, and as a result I didn't have a place where I was writing down tasks and when things were, and I just felt really at sea. Like, I realised how much I needed to have, you know, the things coming up written down. Another aspect of my life, you know, kind of habits I'm in that help me be less stressed, are having routines. It's a fairly like big, vague thing to say, but like I'm a very routine oriented person and I like that about myself. I mean, sometimes it means that I get like stressed around change, but overall I like the fact that I tend to stay in fairly consistent routines, and just having your own little rituals throughout the day. There is a fine line between being, you know, supported by your routines and kind of bound to them, and I think definitely sometimes I experience stress during periods of change, but I think that's only natural, and I'd rather be slightly routine bound than completely like free falling, you know, because I mean everyone has different attitudes to routine, and some people are the most productive and stable and happy when they have everything in flux and nothing super consistent. But me personally, I need my schedule, I need my timetable. Like, I plan out all my days, again with lists. I usually get up in the morning, like if there are multiple things I want to do, unless I'm having a complete day off, I just get a little pre-made list and I do the times roughly, everything I'm going to do, when I'm going to do it. I schedule in breaks, I schedule in lunch, and that's how I kind of run my life. If anything, I'm over ambitious in my plan, so that if I don't get something done, then I can be like, well, I was over ambitious anyway, so if I've got everything but this one thing done, then we're doing pretty good, and my battery's gonna die, so I'm gonna change it. Sorry if the angle or the focus changed a little bit. For me, scheduling, planning, routines, lists, those things sort out my head and help me focus on each thing individually instead of creating that lovely mental patchwork of problems and stresses. Just throw everything together into one melting pot of everything you're worried about, and then suddenly you have like one fat insurmountable problem, when in reality it's more like 4 mild to moderate things. Let's vibe out the hair. What's going on? I think I'm basically done with the length of it. I think I'll probably, over the next couple of days, I'll probably clock bits that are uneven and go back in and trim it up a little bit more. That's good enough for me, honestly. I wasn't expecting to go this short. This is kind of like Tessa Violet short, but a kind of vibe. Oh, look how tiny my little ponytail is. Oh my god. I feel like shaving my undercut on camera while talking is like a step too far. You know, I'm a very ambitious person, but you know, even I have my limits. I'm gonna quickly trim up my fringe. I think the final thing I have to say about stress is over Christmas I had a couple of complete days off, and that may not sound unusual to some people because some people are probably clever enough to have fairly frequent complete days off. What I would class as a kind of day off or like a light day would be, I would still do something vaguely productive, like even if it's just, you know, doing some work on a song I'm writing, or doing some editing of a video, or filming a video, going to the gym, seeing a friend, you know, doing some kind of activity. I would still do that in a day off, but over Christmas I had a couple of days that were literally just reading a book, watching TV, having nice food, vaguely napping, and I didn't realise how much I needed to do that. Like how much built up just stress was released by just having a day where I didn't need to do anything. And what that reminded me of is the fact that human beings want to work. We like to work. Like, there's a reason why working privileges are taken away from people in prison as a punishment, is because we get satisfaction from completing things, doing work, being productive. But if you're working constantly in a kind of joyless way, you lose touch with any of the fact that you had like any desire to do it in the first place. And even with uni work, there are times when I do definitely enjoy doing it. You know, I'm not doing a degree because I hate studying, you know, like, but having time away from it means that when you go back, even if you're not, you know, completely thrilled about, you know, reading and taking notes or whatever, it means that going back to it, it's slightly more interesting. And I felt the same about the gym, because I didn't plan this, but I basically didn't go to the gym at all over Christmas. I got a bit ill, the gym was a bus ride away, it just didn't happen. But I found that now I'm back at uni and I'm starting going to the gym a bit again, I actually want to go, so having that time off really like re-motivated me and made it more exciting and new, and a new, more interesting challenge rather than just the kind of routine I got into. Have I cut my hair? Yes. Does it look better? Somewhat questionable. I feel fairly neutral about this hair, and that is okay. So let's review the plate of hair. Nice. Hope you enjoyed that. If you like this genre of video, then I'm sure I can attempt various other beauty related tasks and achieve them with, you know, like mediocre levels of success while nattering about things. If you're doing uni exams, I hope you're doing alright, I hope you're not too stressed, and I hope this video was zen, calm, helpful, and I shall see you soon. I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye!